Earlier this week, someone on Reddit commented that Where's Waldo had been a banned book in the United States in previous years, and people literally didn't believe it. But that's not even close to the most shocking book that's been challenged in the United States over the last 30 or so years. Hi, I'm Anna, and this is Tucker, and we hope you're having a great day. So I went back and I analyzed banned book data from the last 34 years or so, and some of the results are going to blow your mind. We're talking award-winning literature, beloved children's classics, and yes, even the Bible. So buckle up, because we're about to dive into the most surprising books that have been banned or challenged in American public libraries and schools. Let's start with books from your childhood, and mine too, that you definitely didn't know were controversial. Where's Waldo was the 87th most challenged book of the 1990s. That's the entire decade of the 1990s, a 10-year time frame. I kid you not. A book where you literally just hunt for a guy in a striped shirt. What could possibly be offensive, you're wondering? Me too. Well, apparently some people found scenes with women in bikinis inappropriate. And there were complaints about depicting provocative situations. It's Waldo, people. A Light in the Attic. Shel Silverstein, the poet who taught us that sidewalks end and gave us Sarah, Cynthia, Sylvia, Stout. I have literally given this book as a baby shower gift. I read it to my children. I love this book. But apparently, some people found poems about encouraging rebellions against authority and darker themes inappropriate for children. It's whimsical poetry about childhood imagination. And here's the big one. After analyzing all the data, the most consistently challenged book across the last 3 decades was Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. And then, more scary stories to tell in the dark. And finally, Scary Stories, More Tales to Chill Your Bones. Yes, as a series combined, this is consistently the most banned book of the last 30 years. It was number 1 in the 1990s, the entire decade. It was number 7 in the entire decade of the 2000s, and it was number 24 in the entire decade of the 2010s. That means up until 2019, just 6 years ago. My 16-year-old daughter still loves these books. In fact, these are her books. These aren't the originals. I wish I had my originals, but I don't have them anymore. These are hers. I loved these books as a kid too. Yes, Stephen Gammell's illustrations are genuinely terrifying, but that was kind of the point, and they're like scary but fantastic. Kids love being scared, but in a safe way. But the series has been fighting challenges for over 30 years because parents think it's too scary or it promotes the occult. Halloween ABC cracked the top 50 most challenged books of the 1990s. Again, we're talking the entire decade here, coming in at number 31. It's an alphabet book. A is for apple, B is for bat, C is for controversy, apparently. This got challenged for promoting witchcraft and Satanism. It's literally a book that teaches kids letters using Halloween themes, which is ironic because it's spooky season right now as I'm filming this. So, Eric Carle, the very hungry caterpillar guy. Draw Me a Star was the 64th most challenged book in the 2010s. A picture book about creativity and imagination got complaints because it briefly shows a nude man and woman in an artistic context. Think Adam and Eve level innocuous. But apparently, some people felt that this was inappropriate for children. Now let's talk about books that won major awards but still couldn't escape controversy. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. This book won the Whitbread Award and was praised for its authentic portrayal of autism. It was challenged primarily for language, and some parents felt the protagonist's neurodivergent perspective was inappropriate for young readers. Imagine banning a book for accurate autism representation. Crazy Lady, a Newbery Honor book. That's one of the most prestigious awards in children's literature. It was the 9th most challenged book in 2005. The story deals with alcoholism and mental health, which apparently made some people uncomfortable enough to try removing it from libraries. Bridge to Terabithia, Catherine Patterson's beloved classic about friendship and loss, has been consistently challenged across the decades. It was the number 8 most challenged or banned book in the 1990s, and it was number 28 in the 2000s. The reasons? Death is too sad, some language concerns, and apparently the fantasy elements promote witchcraft. This is a book about the power of imagination and dealing with grief. Pop culture shockers. These next ones will probably surprise you because they're books you probably loved and might still love. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This is still being challenged today. This beloved coming-of-age story that became an Emma Watson movie is currently tied for the 3rd most challenged book of 2024. So, number 3 currently, right now, as we speak. Reasons include mature themes, discussions of sexual abuse, and LGBTQ+ content. It's literally about finding your people and surviving high school. But this was another one that people on Reddit didn't believe was actually a challenged book. Drama by Raina Telgemeier. I think I'm pronouncing that name correctly. I'm not entirely sure. But this is a middle grade graphic novel about school theater productions. It's been challenged for depicting diverse relationships and LGBTQ+ themes in a completely age-appropriate way. Raina Telgemeier writes about real kids' experiences, and apparently that's threatening to some people. Here's one that's been on a very wild journey. Harry Potter, the entire series of Harry Potter. So Harry Potter was released in the United States in like 1998 or 1999. I think it was 99, but don't quote me on that. But it was the very late 90s. This book ended up being the 48th most banned book of the entire decade of the 1990s. So in the span of 1 to 2 years, there were so many challenges submitted for this book that it skyrocketed it to number 48 for all 10 years, the entire decade. Think about how many challenges had to have been submitted to make the top 100 most challenged books of the entire decade of the 1990s. That's a lot of challenges. It then became the most challenged book of the 2000s. That's right, this was number 1 from 2000 to 2009. This book and all of the sequels, all 7 books. And Harry Potter was still number 9 as recently as 2019. That's right, 6 years ago. 6 years ago. This was the number 9th most banned book. Now, we're talking about the whole series, and I've only got one book here, but all of them. 20 years of consistent controversy over a story about friendship triumphing over evil. The reasons? Magic, witchcraft, and nefarious means. Because apparently, defeating actual evil wizards is morally questionable. But nothing prepared me for the next few books. Whale Talk by Chris Crutcher. The 5th most challenged book of 2005 was a sports novel. It's about a high school swimmer trying to form a team while dealing with bullying and racism. It was challenged for language and inappropriate themes, like standing up to bullies, apparently. The Earth, My Butt, and Other Big Round Things by Carolyn Mackler. This was number 4 in 2006. Now, the title alone probably got it challenged. But this is actually a thoughtful story about body image, family dysfunction, and self-acceptance. Revolutionary idea here. Maybe teenagers should be able to read about realistic teenage experiences. The Bible. Yes, that's right. The Bible has appeared on challenged book lists. In fact, it came in at number 6 in 2015, just 10 years ago. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a sword, or should I say, a double-edged sword that pierces the heart. My best guess as to why the Bible showed up in the top 10 list in 2015, but didn't even make any of the top 100 decades lists, is that it was likely some sort of anti-censorship activist movement trying to make a point about the absurdity of book banning. I don't know. If someone knows, tell me. If you know why the Bible just randomly appeared in 2015 but showed up nowhere else, let me know. Something was definitely going on that year. But yeah, the Bible. Looking at these patterns over the last few decades, I think reveals something important. Sarah J. Maas made the 2022 top 10 list with her Court of Mist and Fury, coming in tied for 10th with Crank by Ellen Hopkins. And by the way, Crank is currently tied for number 8th on the 2024 list. So why did A Court of Mist and Fury get challenged? It's for being sexually explicit. So a fantasy romance marketed to adults was challenged because teenagers might read it. At what point do we admit that this isn't about protecting kids or the general public, and start acknowledging that it's more about controlling what stories get told? What I learned in analyzing 34 years of banned book data is that the targets change, but the fear stays the same. In the 1990s, it was magic and witchcraft. In the 2000s, it expanded to realistic portrayals of teenage life. Now, it's LGBTQ+ representation and discussions of racism. But it's always really been about the fear of kids and the more general populace encountering ideas that challenge the status quo, and that can be very dangerous to people in power. And here's what really gets me about this list. Every single one of these books has helped someone feel less alone. Whereas Waldo taught us pattern recognition. Bridge to Terabithia helped kids process grief. The Curious Incident gave autistic readers representation. Drama showed LGBTQ+ kids that they matter. When we challenge books, we're not protecting children or the general population. We're limiting everyone's access to stories that might be exactly what we all need to read. The most surprising thing about this entire list isn't actually what got banned. It's that we're still having this conversation in 2025, and that it seems to be getting worse. The number of book bans and challenges has only increased in the last few years. So what book on this list surprised you the most? And what innocent book do you think has probably been challenged that would surprise people? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future videos just like this one. Have a great day, and go read a banned book, or 2, or 3, or 7, or the entire list. Go read them all. Bye.